going on, world? It is 5150 here, Orlando, Florida. And today I have the privilege of introducing a great friend and just a great person in general, Andy Jimenez. Andy, say hello to everybody and who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Andy Jimenez. I'm a business coach. I help entrepreneurs and small businesses build sales funnels. The sales funnel process helps people automate their sales through email automation. And it takes customers through a process, a step-by-step process that helps them not only acquire clients, but to actually convert them into sales. So I've been helping a lot of people right now who have been transitioning from working at a job or limited to just one income, and helping them build their business by either, selling a product or a service. I have people that are musicians. I have some people that are contractors. I have a person right now who's as a life coach. So she's building her sales funnel. And I have another person who's building a virtual assistant business. So there's a lot of people right now that have like these hidden talents, these things that they weren't doing before, and they're starting to build their business now. So I think it's a best time to do this.
Okay. Well, let's go into a little history. We met at the beautiful company of the Ritz Carlton here in Grand Lakes, Orlando, Florida. Now, you being there, and obviously you being all around before that, from New York to Lord knows where you've been, what did you learn about relationships with people at a place like the Ritz Carlton? What did you get out of that experience where you took it to your next endeavors through your lives? What did you gain out of that?
Well, what I gained from that, I gained a lot. I was at the Ritz Carlton for 15 years.
Wow.
And one of the things that the Ritz Carlton does is that they focus really heavily on customer. And there was a lot of training that we received in how to take care of the customers and how to pay attention to them, how to meet their needs, how to be more engaging with them. And working at the Ritz Carlton was a really, really great training ground, because I was able to learn how it is to engage with a customer, how to treat them, how to service them, how to take care of them, how to even look at before they, you can kind of perceive the kind of things that they enjoy and then try to meet those needs. And I think with that process, I've been able to really transition that into my business. I think basically the business, it's all about service, it's all about people. At the end of the day, that's all that it is you have to learn how to service people, how to love people, not just try to make money from them, but really, really bring value to their lives. And that's what the Ritz Carlton does.
I know one thing I learned from the Ritz Carlton, I'd like to get your reflections on it too, is you never know who you're talking to. Like, you could meet someone in the hallways. And so what I've noticed is this level, mid-level, high level, presidential level, chic level, you have no idea when someone stops you in the hallway and asks you a question, who you're talking to. How is that process with your, because I've learned, well, I'll let you say it. How is that process?
Well, that process is something that's really important, because sometimes when we've had, people at the Ritz Carlton come in who were celebrities, you see everybody running, and we had The Rock at there, we had Bill Clinton, we had Joel Osteen, and it goes on and on and on. And when you see these people, everybody just runs to them and they want to service them. But there are people that are not, you don't recognize, you don't know who they are. And one of the biggest things that the Ritz Carlton does to train people is to treat everyone special. You don't know who they are. They could be someone who's just going there for the first time. It may not be a wealthy person, but they're there. You treat them correctly. You treat them like a gold star. So that process really taught me to never be judgmental of anybody.
Love it.
You have to just bring your service. Don't be judgmental. Everyone is important. And that's how you give value to people. And that's how you really grow as an individual, to not be judgmental and to really focus on servicing people. That's the key.
I love it. So how does that carry over into your next industry when you're connecting with people, phone call, this or that. Do you take that, what you've learned, and transition that over? Because now you might be talking to someone you've never met before, or whether it's an email, a contact. Did you carry that over with you to the next sector of coaching?
Yes. Well, I have like one particular client that I'm working with right now, and she needed a lot of help in the process of getting her business off the ground. Now, I had a limited time where I was going to dedicate a certain amount of time to her, because once you go over a certain amount of time, it's basically what you earn in income goes lower and lower. So, but what I did was I forgot about the income. I wanted to make sure that this individual got their business off the ground. And so what I did was I spent a lot of time with them beyond the time that I was scheduled to do. Something that should have taken basically about 2 months has taken about 6 months. But my goal is to see that person succeed, is to see that person get their business off the ground and not just throw them to the wolves and then just figure it out for themselves. So I think the Ritz-Carlton training has helped me kind of focus on the service part. Also, not to get so caught up on the money per se. It's important, but to bring value to the individual and to really help them with the process. So I think that's helped me transition into this business, to really love people and to really help them get their business off the ground, because it's one of the things that I always needed. Like, I always felt like I never found mentors or coaches that genuinely would help me unless there was money involved. And it was very difficult to find those mentors and to find those coaches. And I had to use books, courses, and things like that to help me build up. But what I want to be able to do is to be able to become a mentor or a coach to somebody and help them through the process and not just abandon them. Or if they have limited resources, working with them and doing that. Because I think people, from what I know right now, I just feel like courses and books are not enough. People really need help with the information. That's the other thing too. There's so much information out there that it's overwhelming. You don't even know where to start. And people just need to know what information it is that they need to help them through the process. And I think there's a big demand for coaches. There's a big demand for mentors to really help people, especially people who want to really build something. So I think it's really important.
Okay, so you make me think. So when it comes to these processes of coaches, mentors, people picking up books, reading, executing, how much would you say of this is mental and knowledge or / physical? Because we could have a whole bookshelf back here full of all the best books in the world, but if I'm not executing on any of those ideas or any of those suggestions, it's just a book on the shelf. How much of this game is mental, where like you have to like break blocks, because people are dealing with fears, stuff that stems back like at very young ages, doubts. People we carry these baggage around with us, and everybody's different from different stuff. So obviously your coach would say, hey, do A, B, C, D, E. But is there ever a time you have to like look mentally what's going on also?
Yeah, at the end of the day, they say that knowledge is power, but knowledge is power, but what's more powerful is knowledge plus action. And a lot of people, a lot of times, even though they have the information, have a really hard time executing. And it's like a fitness coach, you can study how to lift weights, how to, do cardio, how to do certain things. But when you have a coach there that can hold you accountable and help you with the process, you tend to get to the goal quicker. And I think part of the process, I believe, is accountability, is knowing that there's somebody there that if you have a goal of accomplishing something and you break it down into small bite-sized pieces, and at the end of the week, there's someone there that's going to hold you accountable, or at least check with you to see what you have done, I really believe that helps a lot, because most of the time, there are people that are go-getters they just basically, I had one person that I work with, and he was a machine. I would give him the information, and it was like something that would take somebody a month, he would do it in a week. So you have people that can execute, but you have a lot of people who can't. Sometimes, like you said before, they have, what I call stinking thinking, which is their mindset, because of baggage, because of issues that they deal with, self-confidence, self-esteem issues. They really start letting the negative talk basically convince them that they can't accomplish something. They'll be excited at first, and once the negative talk comes in, they get discouraged. And sometimes right there is where you need a mentor or a coach to really point out, hey, this is what you have. These are the abilities that you have. These are the talents that you have.
Mhm.
This is what I see you can do. You can do this. And they just need a little push. And I think, the books are great. The information is great.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's execution. And sometimes a lot of people just need a little bit of help in the execution process. So I think accountability is a really important thing, because the people that I've been working with, the accountability has been a big part of it.
Wow. So we can go down the rabbit hole, especially when it comes to psychology and mental stuff. What is your thoughts on whether it's family, friends, business partner, toxic relationships, and as far as you moving forward, if you're in toxic relationships, whether it's your business partner, your peers, your 5 friends that are around you that are like, man, your idea is dumb, that's never going to work. What are your thoughts on that, toxic relationships and those?
Toxic relationships, or basically, people that sometimes are around you, and sometimes, unfortunately, it could be family, that have negative statements, even sometimes parents, where you may want to accomplish something, and because of whatever the parents have gone through, they begin to lay into them and give them negative, oh, you can't do this, you're not going to be able to accomplish something. And that negative, especially with parents, it could be tough, because you want the approval of your parents.
Mhm.
But you have to take into account that you're an individual.
Mhm.
And if something is toxic, for me personally, I try to get away from what's toxic. I don't want that information, because the mind is a very powerful thing, and it absorbs a lot of the stuff. And a lot of times this negative information, if you take it in and you internalize it, it will paralyze you. So what I do is I try to get away from the toxic relationships. I get away from the people, the naysayers, and surround myself with people that want to accomplish what I want to accomplish. I love entrepreneurship. I want to be surrounded by people who want to be self-reliant and want to be able to be free and to be able to generate income for themselves and not depend on other people.
Mm.
So I try to surround myself with people who think that way. And when you do, it's a different thing. So sometimes, even like I try to advise my daughter, sometimes she'll post things on Instagram and a lot of people will compliment her, but she'll get maybe one comment that's negative, and that one comment that's negative will throw out everything that everybody else said.
Wow.
So part of it is to get away from the toxic stuff. The other part of it is to have empathy and to understand that there are people that are in a bad place from where they grew up. They have dealt with negative stuff from the past, and you need to have compassion for them because it's coming from a bad place.
Right.
So I think the biggest thing is to really believe in, and I don't want to say like a cliche or very typical thing, but you have to really believe in yourself. Push away the negative information. If you receive negative information from other people, just understand that if a person is doing that, they're coming from a place that needs compassion. I think that personally for me, I just stay away from people that are negative. That's the way I handle it sometimes.
I think we think very similar in that path. I definitely try to disassociate. I if someone's giving constructive criticism, I'll listen. But if someone's trying to like bash, that's a different story, different scenario to me. So now a lot of people don't know that you, which you still are, obviously, it sounds like, we're definitely before this whole COVID-19 hit, because for people that are watching this, whether it's after coronavirus or during coronavirus, but we are in a pandemic and businesses have been shut down. We're in phase one, doing a soft opening right now. You were in online sales before all this happened, and it's something that you've been, how long have you been in online sales?
Ooh, I was doing online sales for, I would say about 7-8 years.
Right.
A lot of the sales that I did was eBay sales and sales on Poshmark with clothing. But I would go out to garage sales and purchase, go to rummages and purchase a whole bunch of different electronics, goods, go to estate sales. And I would generate a lot of money on eBay doing that. One of the most profitable things that I sold was I bought something for 10, which I flipped for about 450.
Wow.
And it was like a car battery charger. It was the most incredible find. And I was doing that for a lot of years. And I still do that. I still do that on the side. I love garage sales and I love estate sales. And I did that for a while. Right now, I've teamed up with my wife. She buys clothing for reselling, luxury clothing, purses, and things like that. So I help her in that business, and she's doing really well with that. Even right now, online, she's selling a lot of different clothing online still, and that's definitely a good market right now.
I'm taking notes because there was a discussion we were having with one of my friends the other day. What do you see in this whole online sales that's going to happen? And then we feel like, obviously it's going to explode even more. But what we're seeing all these companies, I think it was like J. Crew, Lehman Marcus, like all these companies are filing for bankruptcy, all these clothing stores. So what's going on right now is they're saying no one's going to feel safe going into a store, trying on pants or trying on a shirt, and then throwing it back and then someone else grabbing it, putting it on, and throwing it back and someone else grabbing and putting it on. What do you foresee what's about to happen with all this, especially because if your wife's into that and you've got a vision of this?
In terms of the customers and buying.
We were here in online sales across the nations, across the world, pre-COVID-19. COVID-19 hits. Now we're going towards bankruptcy of all these clothing companies, and it looks like people are going to be scared to be trying on clothes that someone else might have tried on. So now it looks like we might be getting to a new level of everything from food to frickin' you name it, all the deliveries, the Uber Eats, the Instacarts. Like, you see all this stuff going on. What do you think's going to happen?
Well, first of all, things to me have changed tremendously, and one of the things that you're seeing with what's going on right now is that businesses that did not have an online presence, or at least not a strong one, have paid the price. Those that have seen what the market is like right now and seeing what kind of a income you can generate online are beginning to transition. Some businesses, unfortunately, have been, really caught up with a lot of debt, so they're not able to do that. But the behaviors of people are changing because obviously this pandemic is changing the mentality of people. Like right now, Uber and Lyft, Uber especially, they've had to let go about almost 2,000 employees. The CEO basically gave up his salary right now because there is no business. People are at home. The other thing is that also people are concerned that if they get into an Uber, they don't know if someone who got in there before may have been sick and they may be exposed to that. So people are reluctant. It doesn't mean people are not going to, people right now, Lyft is doing very well. Lyft they just reported their earnings and they actually are doing better than expected.
Wow.
So people are still using Lyft, but people are more cautious. people are still buying clothing because we have the online, we've sold shoes, sold jerseys,
Mhm.
and these are all pre-owned items. Now, obviously, it's not probably as busy as it used to be,
Mhm.
but people are still buying. So there is going to be a lot of, until we don't have the right testing, until we don't have a cure or a treatment, it really is like Russian roulette. You go out there and you can get sick. It's unfortunate, but that's possible, you know? And so people have to take the precautions. So there's going to be a lot of changes, but I believe that the online presence has really established itself right now. Like you mentioned before, it was like, it was here,
Mhm.
but now online has increased to here. People are at home, and I think people are beginning to see differences, like even working out. You know, the gyms have been impacted, but there's a lot of people working out at home using bikes that have videos where the coach is right on the screen and you're getting trained on a cycle. So people are using that. People are starting to train at home, and I think that's going to change some behavior. Some people may even stop going to the gym and continue to work from home to see how effective that is. There is a lot of changes going on, but I do know that the online presence is critical. I also believe that people need to have more than one income. You cannot depend on just one income. You have to have multiple incomes happening.
Yes.
Some areas will not be as much, but there'll be another area that will be. But I think this one income, depending on a job, depending on one income, you can't do that anymore. You have to have multiple incomes happening because you don't know what's going to lead to what. And I think I have a friend of mine that got a wake-up call. She was really sure that her job was secure. She was furloughed. She was let go, and she was shocked.
Wow.
But what she's doing is that she's not getting depressed about it. She started her own business. And so she's doing that. And so this is the kind of stuff that's going on. I think people need to just step back, analyze the situation. I believe people need to learn how to, basically get their own income, start building something right now while you have the time off. And at the end of it, the economy is going to come back. Things are, I don't believe that there's already changes going on right now, even though the pandemic continues, but there is a real big focus on getting a cure. People are beginning to see opening up their businesses. It's going to be difficult, but the economy is going to come back. And so this is the time to prepare. So when that transition happens, you're in a good place.
Wow, you really made me think. I had a conversation with my man Patrick Cleveland the other day, great gentleman, and we were discussing going out back into frequenting our restaurant. So we're saying now decisions are going to be, all right, I'm not going to this restaurant. I'm going to this restaurant because either I know the owner, it's a local business that supports my community. Like it seems like we're going to go to places more for a reason. So I'm going to go to my friend's restaurant to show support. And then we were talking about, which I've been dealing with this word a lot lately in the last couple, 3-4 days, remarkable, amazing, where we go back to Ritz Carlton. I really feel now is the time where you need to be remarkable. You need to be amazing. Average isn't going to cut it no more. Meaning, and I'm sure this has happened to you, if I walk into your business and there's nobody there and no one greets me, no one says hello, I get the product, I go up to the store, all right, I want to buy this, and I get attitude from who's ever there and a bad experience, now is not the time for that, because I am not going to come back and spend my hard-earned money with you. I mean, what are your thoughts on all that? I'm sure this has happened to you and you see this.
Yeah, I think right now, I think brand is important. And And another word for brand is reputation.
Mm.
So if a person is going to spend $200 a night in one place, and there's really nothing special per se happening, and they can get something similar for $100 a night, there is nothing that separates you from the other person. So there has to be something that you have to be recognized for and have a reputation for, so that people can say, hey, you know, when I go to the Ritz Carlton, the service is so off the charts. I don't get that anywhere.
Right.
I just don't get it anywhere. It's just, I'll pay the extra just for that.
Yep.
You know, so, you know, you have to, and that goes to any business, you know, it's what do you want to be known for? You know, what do you want your reputation to be? If you're a general person where you just basically like everyone else, you'll generate some income, but at the end of the day, like I said, brand or reputation is critical and it's important. And that's what's going to separate people, businesses from anybody else. And, you know, and that goes with the hotel brands, that goes to with your business personally, with coaching, with whatever it is that you're doing, you have to do that. And that's where you can develop your brand. And it's really important. It's really, really important.
I believe so. You know, it's almost, we're in that sink or swim mode where you can't afford to have employees treat customers bad. You can't afford to have bad reports with your guests. Like, you need to be on, like, if you need to be on your A game before, you really got to be on your A game now, as far as I can see, because it's going to take a community support to keep these community local businesses afloat. If it's going to happen, if it's possible, depending on what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know, you know, all these small businesses, we don't know what was going on before the virus. Some businesses were already on the edge, looking over, you know, ready to fall. So we don't know what's going on. But like yourself, I can use you for example. When you talked about your client going the extra mile to see her succeed, now's the time, in my vision, what I see, now is the time everybody has to go harder, go extra, and push for the mission, for the goal to be accomplished, because we're in such a challenging time. If you sit back, if you put your feet up, if you treat people bad, and you're a business, or even if you're just a person, like, now it's the time you have to bring your A game, or else something's going to swallow you, whether it's the economy, whether it's stuff that I feel deeply on right now. And it's good to see what you said about going the extra mile with your client. Like, let's do this, you know, like, let's make this happen. Let's, you know, like, that's some really cool stuff to see.
Yeah. And it's important because I think the main thing is that getting into doing work that you really enjoy, this is a long game. And I think if you get into it, like you mentioned before, as a mission, as something that you're looking to do long term, it's going to require patience. And then you just have to dedicate the time, you know, to really see things through. And it's a long game. So if a person is just at this point looking at maybe doing something for a quick buck, right now people are reluctant and in some cases are unable to, you know, to really invest any money heavily unless they feel that what they're going to receive is valuable. So it starts with you giving, that's the payment for entry is giving value up front first. That is the payment. So sometimes people, oh, I don't want to give away my content for free, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But that's the payment for entry. You know, you need to start giving value up front. People start recognizing you, and they start saying, hey, you know, this person is constantly giving and giving, and I learned so much from them. And then when they're just ready to make a decision, they're going to be contacting you. They're going to be contacting you. And I think that is the thing. You have to start giving value up front. for free. You
Yeah.
know, start, it doesn't matter. Like, just giving value up front for free. And I think eventually that is going to lead into people looking at you as the person that they want to contact for whatever business they want to, they want to do. So it's a long game. And I'm looking at this for me, for coaching is a long game. I've spent so many years doing so many different businesses, doing so many different things. And I know you know me from always getting involved with entrepreneurship. I've read tons of books, taken tons of courses, worked with a whole bunch of different people, and had some successes and had some failures. And I want to give back, so I want to help people get their business off the ground. And
I think I can give you a cool piece of advice this gentleman gave me the other day. I was looking, we both know Dan Pena, and I always got into the idea of like, wow, I never knew buying and selling businesses could be something to do. I never thought about it until he opened my eyes on that. And the other day I was thinking about it. So I went to the Google and I typed in Orlando business brokers. So this gentleman's name popped up, Michael Shea, and he had all these awards. I was checking out his page, all these plaques behind the wall, just of accomplishments for selling businesses. And he had a great repertoire. And plus, he popped up in the Google search like first. So I'm like, you know what? I just gave him a call. I was like, I'm going to call him. So I called him and he picked up like right there. And we started talking like you and me right now, and we got into a conversation. He was a great guy. He had a great brain. And we just started talking kind of like you and me talk. And we talked, it must have been for like 45 minutes. So I follow him on Instagram and I follow him on his YouTube page. But I said, man, I'd like to maybe interview you on my show sometime. And he was like, yeah, okay, just let me know. And I was like, it's just starting out. And I remember what he said to me. And when you're talking about that, it made me think. He said, yeah, you're just starting out. But he said, imagine where you'll be in 10 years if you stick with it. And I was just like, He's like, most people, he's like, they won't stick around that long. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? He's right. When you were talking, you made me think of what this other gentleman said the other day, because this platform here, he said, it's a life project. Right. A life project. And that's what you make me think when you're saying that this is a life project. It sounds like that you're doing what I'm doing.
Yes. Absolutely. 100%. I think that is the mindset. And it's people tapping into who they are. And, I know we hear a lot about, following your passion and things like that. And I really believe that. But you have to I think people need to find their calling and really kind of see what it is that they really enjoy doing and what kind of service they can create from doing that, and looking at it long term. Jeff Bezos, he's a tough businessman, but he's
some people watching might not know who Jeff Bezos is. Who are you talking about?
Okay, Jeff Bezos is the CEO owner of Amazon.
Okay,
and he, his story, I love it. He was doing really well before. He's making, this was like back in the early 90s. He was making like $250,000 a year, but he had this thing that he really wanted to build, this online bookstore. And he just, talked to his wife, what do you think, and he based his decision on the fact that he could live with the fact that he started something and it failed, but he could not live with the fact that he never started and he would have to live with regret. And so he just started a bookstore, and his thing was long term. Now the bookstore, obviously, he's the wealthiest man on the planet. He doesn't sell just books anymore. He sells everything. But he always looked at things long term. Like what he says, whatever he has right now that's selling right now was something that he planned 5 to 10 years back. So he's already looking 10 years ahead for the other stuff. Right now, people see what he's doing right now, but right now he's working on projects that are going to come up 10 years from now. So, it's a long game. And everyone who's the same thing with Steve Jobs and Warren Buffett, who's like the investor king. I mean, he's been doing what he's been doing since he was 12 years old. The long game is important not only because it's mission-based, but because you get to learn and become an expert. And that's where that other book comes in, is a book called Outliers, which talks about investing 10,000 hours in a specific area to become an expert. So you need time. Yes. So it's really important that you choose what it is that you want to do, see what the market is looking for, build a product and service, and dedicate your time to doing that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take this from the Jeff Bezos, the multi-million, billion, trillionaire, whatever he is. Let's take it to the layman right now as we get towards this end. With what you know, what you've done, especially with your online sales, with you stocking up on stuff, reselling. Someone is watching right now, like your friend, lost their job, income stopping. From what you know, from what you've done as far as finding products and reselling, look into the camera and tell this person who is stressed out, might be sitting on a little bit of money, and what could he do right now to go out and do what you did as far as finding stuff and reselling?
First off, if somebody is in a situation where they need to generate income, I would start with eBay. They say that the average person has about $2,000 to $3,000 worth of merchandise in their own home.
Wow.
If they do an inventory of the stuff in their home, on average, they have about that much money in there.
Okay.
So if a person wants to generate income, you know, you can go around your house and start doing an inventory of all the stuff that you have at home and sell it on eBay, sell it on OfferUp, sell it on the Facebook Marketplace, sell it on Craigslist. You know, so you can start doing that. If there's a person who would love to have a product or service and they don't have one right now, there's what they call affiliate marketing. So what you can do is you can create or have somebody help you create a landing page. You can promote a product or service that you believe in, but the product or service is being offered by someone else. The sweet thing about something like that is that when you work as an affiliate marketer, selling somebody else's product or service, these vendors will pay you 50, 60, even up to 80% on the sale of the item. You have areas like ClickBank, JVZoo. These are platforms that have vendors that sell products, and you can get one of those. If you don't have a product, you can find a product that you believe in. I would suggest probably to go in, see what the product is, perhaps maybe purchase the product to see how it is, see how they sell the product, and then you can go ahead and sell it for them. You don't even have to have your own product. You can just sell somebody else's product and make money. I would do that. If you do have a service, then I would do is, before you invest a lot of time into trying to build your business, take that product or service and create what they call as an MVP, which is a minimal viable product. And what that means is that you create, like if you want to have a course, you don't create the whole course, you create a part of it. And then what you do is that you promote it, market it to see how the market responds to it. I had a person that spent a ton of money on a product that they were convinced people could use, and it didn't do well. So before you invest a lot of time and money into something, create something at a minimal level, put it in the market, and see how people respond. If people respond well, they'll react. Like there was a girl that had, she was a student and she was trying to make money for school, and she simply made a cheesecake and she offered it to one of her friends. her friends loved it, and one of her other friends really said, wow, this is really good. Does she have more? Can she make me one? She made one for them. The other people sent it out to the other friends, and before she knew it, she was baking cheesecakes in her house. Wow. And she was making a lot of money just doing that. I mean, she made a really tremendous cheesecake. So it started by just creating something, and people tested it, people responded, and then the business grew from there. So I would say test the market. Don't spend a lot of time thinking that your product or service, sometimes you have, like I've had in my mind, like products and services that I'm convinced people want. And that's just me. The market tells you what's valuable, what they want. Yes. You can't force a product on people. Yeah. So test it. So I think to make money quickly, inventory your house. If you have a service or product that you want to put out, test it first. Create a small, minimal viable product. If you don't have a product, go with affiliate marketing. That is like, people are making a lot of money on that, and you can use ClickBank and JVZoo to get those products. Wow! And you just create, landing pages, and you can put a Facebook ad. If you don't know how to put a Facebook ad, you can go to Fiverr. And Fiverr, you can find someone that knows how to do that. You pay them $50 or $100. You can save yourself a tremendous amount of time, and they can do a Facebook ad for you. Wow. So there's resources out there that you can use to start something. And you don't need to have like a tremendous amount of money to do that. You could probably start with $100, $200.
This is amazing information right here. Like this is like, even my brain, you got me thinking, because I'm like, all right, different avenues of income, big, small, whatever, just being creative in these times. So that was great information. All right, well, so we're getting about that time because I'm on the free Zoom. Once again, that last stuff you just said, it was freaking amazing. Like valuable, so much value right there. I'm gonna probably have to use that for like a little trailer of this whole thing, because people need to hear that. It's been a great interview. The information has been amazing. You speak with passion, you speak with love, and you speak with care, which is definitely one of the reasons why I wanted you on here, because those are the type of guests, the type of people that I like to surround myself with.
Yes.
So, where can people find you? Anything you want to plug? How can people get a hold of you?
And
I will leave links also.
Okay. Anybody who wants to, I work with ClickFunnels to help people do their sales funnels, their landing pages. So if anybody would like to learn more about that or interested in creating their own sales funnel, and need education on that, they can go to funneltrafficsystem.com.
Okay.
Funneltrafficsystem.com. And there they can get some education on what is a sales funnel, how it can help your business, and they can go there. If they want to know a little bit more about me, they can go to www.andyjimenez.com.
Beautiful. Love
and
it.
There they'll get some more information of me and my story. If they want to learn a little bit more about coaching or how they can get help, they can schedule a coaching session. It's free. There's no charge. I can help you kind of plan out something, and you can walk out with a business plan for yourself to execute. So so you can go to any one of those two sites.
Amazing. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on here, my friend. We will talk soon. Everybody reach out to Andy, follow him, and this is going to be one of the great shows. I know it. I feel it. I'm loving it, brother. Thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome. Thank you, man.
All right, my brother. Peace.
Bye.